means that probably going to be seeing the Rumble versus Gwen trade. I think a lot of players would love to take it if they can, and obviously we did just see TheShy play it not too long ago, so wouldn't be surprised. Could also pick Jace, very good as a flex pick between TheShy and Rookie, most likely going into TheShy's hands, but has decent matchups into both Rumble and Gwen early.
Wow, this is not the first pick that I was expecting. I was ready to even entertain a Varus conversation, but because none of the other AD carries had been banned off the table, maybe they didn't feel like there was as much priority onto that if you would just get, you know, an immediate marksman response. But the fact that they prioritized the Xin Zhao so much, I mean, if you want to go blow for blow, you go with the Pantheon, so at least you can skirmish, and not one of the tank junglers, so that you don't feel like you're getting basically outpaced in the first 10-15 minutes of the game. So anyone's legend can pair this. If they can go global power with Taliyah, right, for Shanks. Otherwise, it's probably a top lane pick here for one of the prio champions, either in Rumble or Gwen.
Yeah, I think you could still go for the Taliyah, though.
Yep.
This pairing is just really strong.
Yep.
So, good takeaway as well from Rookie. Now, I think if you are on the side of IG, you are thinking about potentially just pairing this up with an Orianna to start. You do give up a little bit of the burst potential, but being able to force her ultimate in the same way that we see the matchup versus Azir. Still the possibility here for IG.
Control Mage still might be the answer here for Rookie into mid lane. I'm getting flashbacks to game 3 last night against Weibo, and okay, you know what? I can be content with a Sylas pickup here for Invictus Gaming. Already some meaningful ultimates you get to grab here and match the global power.
I think that's fine. Interesting. I'm thinking about the skirmishing potential. They'll have really low range coming in from IG already, which means that this Taliyah unworked earth is gonna, or the worked earth is going to have some pretty decent amount of use in this fight. But what I'm seeing right now from the side of AL, we're getting Aurora top. Okay,
top lane
right,
Aurora.
that's fine. Flandre has been cooking this one. He has been playing this often, so.
Well, at least you now have 2 decent sources of burst AP damage. So in the case that Shanks wants to go for the durable build for Taliyah, aka the Rod of Ages and Saras, you know, at least you're not going to be feeling like you're pressed for magic damage. You're going to have another source of it from your top lane. But now, bot lanes are completely open for the picking. You know, Varus is still yet to be banned. There's still Kalista on the table. Kai'Sa is still a prime pickup for both of these AD carries. You know, Hope making a big name for himself recently, like, while Gala has historically been known to be a great Kai'Sa player, right? So far, it's just been a support ban in the Alistar and trying to open up potentially for a Rel pickup.
Okay, so I mean, you're looking at what AL are showing, and Rel is, like you had just mentioned, I think a pretty good, decent hover. And when we're talking about what IG could potentially look for, I think you also might be looking at giving over Leona to AL because you have this Sylas on your team. You do want to be considering 4 AD carries, probably a misfortune on 4 here from Invictus, as they have a lot of great setup. I think you have enough damage coming in from range. You just want some kind of strong AD carry that's going to be able to roam around the map a little bit faster. You see this from AL. They have great team fighting, and as long as they can set up, this Pantheon and Taliyah can be anywhere else on the map and make it a numbers advantage for their team.
Yeah, and if you end up losing the Rel because of it, yeah, okay. Well, that changes the conversation a bit. IG immediately sniffing out the potential misfortune snags. So if you want to look for probably best AD carry pickup, it is Varus.
Okay, nice. We get Varus on 4. I think that's fine. So AL are giving themselves an out in terms of being able to not necessarily play a pick composition with the Taliyah, and more so trying to see if they can find some pretty good burst. We're assuming this is going to be the poke Varus, so trying to just one-shot someone out of a fight, make them low HP. I'm trying to think about like engaged supports that Meiko's going to be able to play. You need to be able to play a pretty tanky champion in this one, and something that also isn't just going to immediately fall over from having a Varus or a Taliyah knock them up.
Yeah, and pretty much every tank support that is available for the picking is going to give a valuable ultimate over to IG with rookie Sylas, right? Like, if you pick Nautilus here, now you have a point and click on something like an Aurora or a Varus, right? If you lock in Leona, now you have Solar Flare that you can take away. So there's not much that IG are scared of at this point, because I
think it's Braum, though.
Okay.
I think it's unironically Braum.
Braum at least gives the least value back over to IG, because taking a Glacial Fissure is like, cool, bro. You know, you slow down the fight, but it's not like a potential game-winning ultimate that you're snagging.
I like this. I think that what AL are showing, they're a bit squishy, but they have ways of being able to be deceptively tanky. IG, though, you're going to have two solo laners. My eyes are glued to mid lane right now. Rookie, very volatile in the laning phase. He is definitely going to be a big focus for this game. And if he can have a good performance going up against Shanks and the rest of anyone's legend, I think that this mid jungle could potentially take over this game. But AL being able to play across the map wherever they need to be, and their ability to clear waves, I think, is much better than IG. So IG need to pull the trigger, and they need to be able to be ahead in this game if they don't want to get suffocated.
Yeah, and their solo laners don't necessarily have the early agency right from the get-go to have that kind of explosive power, right? It really does come down to Jiejie unlocking them, trying to connect with his solo laners at the right times where Tarzan cannot match, give them that little bit of an edge over their solo lane counterparts, because then when you get into that mid game, that when you have level 6s available, then this Gwen feels like a monster. This Sylas feels like a monster and can really warp the game state and give IG the edge you're looking for. Other than that, I'm definitely looking at anyone's legend and pretty much aligned with you, Alk.
This will be a fun matchup. Again, this is not only a matchup between two world champions, obviously, in the top side between Flandre and TheShy. You do have Flandre and Jiejie fighting up against each other, old EDG boys being able to hang out here on the Rift, and we are expecting for AL to take this series, but IG have provided us some of the most entertaining games and have been the most surprising team here in the top 4, so let's get out onto the Rift and get ready for game number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
There it is.
Let's go. Gios are enthusiastic in the house for this series. Definitely makes a little bit more sense. These two teams not only more no names on their rosters, but also just known more are more notable quantities. As anyone's legend have got a very aggressive invade going on in this bottom quadrant. They haven't dropped vision though until they get a ward as they are exiting the Raptor camp. So this will give them information if Jiejie does start on the bot side.
It makes sense though, right? You have a Braum on your team, so why not just go for a level 1? Just makes your all-in potential when you walk in that much stronger. You're gonna get spotted on this ward. No sweep. Meiko did not end up sweeping this and used his red trinket already, so he's gonna be down there. And junglers are starting on the bottom side of the map, having to already use the barrier here, just so that he doesn't have to use his pots. So, fun matchup already going down between the two bot lanes.
How long is barrier cooldown? I know it's like shorter than flash, but like how much more shorter? You know?
It's, I think 2 minutes.
Okay.
2.5, 3 minutes almost.
Yeah.
Let's check.
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up,
on the dot, it's 180 seconds, and Hope doesn't have like Cosmic Insight or anything.
Okay. I mean, it's totally fine. You're popping it right from the get-go at level 1, like at the 140 mark. So you're gonna have it back up in case jungle swings around after a full clear. So not any real danger, and like you said, it's just to preserve the fact that he doesn't have to pop an early potion. Jiejie spotted on the Raptor camp once again as he is pathing away, so by the time he makes his way towards the bottom side of the map, it'll be closer to that 4-minute mark. Decent trade from Meiko and Gala, controlling the lane.
And what we're going to be able to see from this early game coming out from AL is that Tarzan has really just pick of the litter for what objective he wants to play. He's going to have push in mid until Silas gets maybe one item or finishes his boots. TheShy is already taken a pretty massive beating thanks to this Electrocute Aurora top lane. So whatever objective he wants to play for, if he wants to invade, that's going to be up to him. And Tarzan already finishing his Krugs here does mean that if he really wants to, he can just take over this top side scuttle and, you know, set up for a play in either of his solo lanes.
Yeah, Flandre is totally safe here, since Tarzan completing his full clear actually faster than Jiejie, which is I'm very surprised about. I'm not sure how that happened, but the fact that Tarzan is going to be the first one into the river, he is spotted, but he's got first move from Shanks as well. So should be totally safe here from both solo laners, being able to net the first crab. That's going to force TheShy to recall, probably pop a teleport. So Flandre will get a chance to have a TP advantage. I don't know how he will get a chance to use it.
He's so screwed though. I mean, Flandre is just probably going to back heal TP. Tarzan gets double scuttle, which obviously isn't as big as it used to be, but Jiejie knows, like, oh, wow, so he got push from bottom lane, he has push in top, so this Pantheon should be able to at least hit his level 5 a little bit sooner, if not also his level 6, and that just means that the map can be played a little wider here by anyone's legend, and good job so far in the early laning phase for all of any AL's lanes to be performing.
Just a funny note, our lovely producer and, you know, head Kelsey, you know, just chirping in and saying, at the airport, woke up to see that Top Esports didn't troll for once. I'm letting you know, Kelsey, you did not see what we saw in Game 1. It was close.
There was some trolling.
There was definitely some trolling. But they did get it done. They didn't troll all the way through. Yep. Meanwhile, back to this series in this Game 1. I think the most meaningful thing that could happen is that Tarzan is level 5 and Jiejie is not. So, and one extra level in that spear for the Q does a lot of damage. So, gotta be careful if Grubs is going to be the focus in the next minute.
Alright, I'm taking a look right now. It seems like Kael is trying to play the vision game. They're maybe even feigning focus. He's getting rid of wards from IG, seeing if they can at least manipulate a little bit of that fog against IG. As right now we're kind of going back to, they've just decided to play Australian League of Legends and place their bottom lanes both on top to contest for these grubs in 30. I mean, when you look at it, I think you are really favoring AL's comp early on, but with Rookie having access to level 6, can be a pretty big game changer, despite missing the Abscond Abduct there.
Yeah, Shanks, decent health advantage, actually going to push Rookie around in the face of Meiko right there, just knowing that something the Rel could do to stop him. Still with the flash on his side, and ensuring that Rookie without TP cannot leave lane for priority. Now, Shanks could get jumped as a majority of the members here are in the line brush, and Shanks just paying respect will flash away from the Q. That is now a flashless Taliyah, so the next time that IG want to spring a trap, they should definitely have the upper advantage, but because a lot of resources are being expended to circle around the Taliyah, Tarzan and Kael match, and they should still be favored to take these grubs.
Yeah, and also, if you just think about it, like, Rookie is below half HP. Flandre actually didn't end up teleporting to the bottom lane to try to match TheShy, so he'll have a numbers advantage. He's going to use it now, recognizing that there's really not much for IG to actually contest for. And, I mean, that'll just mean that in a few minutes' time, hopefully Invictus can actually come and re-gank into mid lane so that they can hopefully punish this Taliyah.
Good sidestep by Hope. Doesn't even, you know, flash what could have been a Q stun from Meiko. Tarzan still shown on the top side of the map thanks to that ward. Rookie is fading slowly into the river since Shanks cannot match with TP. Would come at the cost of a Weaver's Wall. Not going to even look for a chance on it. Both of the bot laners in Gala and Meiko, or just Meiko, has recalled. Gala going to pick up this wave. Neither team has really looked at the dragon. There was a chance that IG could have done it, but Jiejie not wanting to slow down his overall clear tempo. He's still down a significant number of camps thanks to the Scuttle Crab advantage that we were talking about earlier. Of course, you know, the grubs also making a difference there. But Anyone's Legend, very content with how this game is going. I am, though, a little curious out. Do Anyone's Legend want to push the tempo relatively soon, or are we just coasting here?
I think without IG having any real tanks and their only form of engage is either a Deadly Flourish or Jiejie and Meiko finding some kind of crash down, I think you're very happy with this game going later. It's up to IG to destabilize some of these lanes. We already see that Hope is getting an advantage for himself, that Flandre has an advantage in topside. This game does not get any easier for Invictus to go to play as the game goes on, so it is kind of on IG to actually make meaningful plays, progress the game, and the fact that they didn't grab the first dragon or even any of these grubs is a pretty big win coming in for AL.
Yeah, objective-wise, they are eating good. Top laners have been moved around a lot this game, which is why you see such the relatively low CS numbers, but man, this Electrocute Aurora is really bullying around TheShy. Already has a distinct level advantage in this matchup, and if TheShy doesn't get bailed out anytime soon, it could be more.
Oh yeah, so just means that it'll be Dragon. You see a lot of people starting to move on up towards IG. Silas obviously still fighting, Meiko in the wings, Kael is covering. They're going to try and make this play. Tarzan does have ultimate, but he is not in the area. If he finishes his recall, he's going to be able to help contest and eventually end up in this fight.
And the fact that Kael is here, he gets vision on both Jiejie and Meiko. So Jiejie is going to call off the play, not looking for a dive. He cannot possibly disrespect Tarzan, who just finished base and could easily walk and Grand Star fall his way to the aid of Shanks. So Shanks is going to be totally safe on this side of the map. TheShy still taking quite a battering from Flandre. Has teleport, so he's going to take this time now to recall and TP back to the turret.
Good job coming in from Meiko to get a little bit of vision there. Also gets information as to where Tarzan is. We have the Scuttle going over to IG, so Jiejie getting his first one of the game. And not much. We got a minute before that dragon spawns, or the second set of grubs, I should say. Sorry. But you look at where AL are. Look, they're still out on the map. Unless Hope doesn't have anything really to buy, you have to imagine that AL are either going to avoid this objective and try to get gold onto their carries or spend their gold, or even try to move in and clear out some of this vision. This entire top side is littered with blue wards coming in from IG.
Yeah, Rookie has TP advantage. Shanks does not. He just used the TP after he caught the wave last time. Had to catch the second wave once he was healthy enough to do it. He's now basing, I'm assuming, for his Seraph's completion. Actually doesn't even have it yet.
There's no way he has Seraphs here. There's no way he has Seraphs here.
No. No, he does not.
He completed boots first, so.
Well, no one is really on a first item spike that is going to be at this grubs fight. Maybe Flandre, but his TP isn't even back up yet. So unless Anyone's Legend can stall out the objective itself and give Flandre enough time to walk away from TheShy and threaten a TP, this is a Rod of Ages only on the first stack, so it's not necessarily Aurora at full power in the mid game. And I think Anyone's Legend, very cognizant of that, are just kind of forgiving IG and just allowing them to take the second rotation of grubs. Maybe they can collapse in for one take and give themselves 4 to 2 grubs in total, and that seems to be the play.
All right. That's a pretty worthwhile trade, though, still coming in for Anyone's Legend. It's all an all-in from TheShy, trying to push Flandre back, and will force both of their ultimates out. And I think TheShy needs to be very worried, because now that they know Tarzan finished this top side, you see that Meiko is trying to put down vision. This could just turn into a potential play around this bottom lane. Supports are already on the move, and Meiko is first.
I'm just going to be careful. He still has Flash, but TheShy does not have TP anymore, whereas Flandre does. So he could easily collect this wave, base, TP back for tempo pressure as we get ready for the second dragon of the game coming up in 2 minutes. And Kael is actually, now the fact that he's on this side of the map, Flandre can get a chance to push in the wave as long as possible and keep TheShy jailed here.
Yep. Makes it difficult for IG to play. This was the draft that they gave themselves, right, though. Just the fact that they have almost 3 losing lanes across the board makes it almost impossible for a Jiejie to actually do anything. They're pretty much even in mid and bottom lane. It's really just this matchup at top side that is pretty tough for IG. And you already see that AL, the one of the other things that is very annoying for them to deal with, I hold that as Meiko goes in.
Flandre forced to flash away. It's a TP that comes in from Rookie trying to force the fight here, but now it's a potential TP advantage coming up for Shanks. Flandre still has his TP, and the fact that Rookie TP'd away from topside, that's going to be at least one, if not two planes going over to Shanks for free.
Yeah, that's going to be gold, and they're very early for this dragon. I mean, they're going to send TheShy over to match. That'll be 2 plates for Shanks, and even if he stays here, he'll just be able to ult in through mid lane if he really needs to be at this dragon fight. I really don't like this coming in from IG, thinking that there's going to be a much longer fight, and instead AL are able to disengage and give themselves a bit of more of an advantage across the map.
Yeah. Flandre totally happy to give over his flash for that cause, right? Because he's still very slippery on Aurora. Will have his ultimate available. He still has his W. Pretty hard to lock this guy down unless you pretty much send everyone and you're like, I don't know, TPing behind him if you're TheShy, but I don't think TheShy is going to make that kind of play anytime soon. And as you called it, second dragon coming up in the next 10 seconds. TheShy is still on the top side, has teleport, and at least can, you know, push in this wave first. But Flandre also has teleport, and he'll be just as ready to answer with a Rod of Ages coming into completion for TheShy on this base, I believe. Wow, this is a new cook.
14-minute Rod of Ages? I mean, we're definitely getting 24 minutes in this game, but why are we building this item on Gwen? Okay, surely this item cannot be good on Gwen. All right, I'm going to go check.
Are you going to check the win rate stats? Is it lolesports time?
Hell, not lolesports, but close enough.
Okay. We're checking item rate stats anyway.
God,
I was not going to mention the fact that TheShy ran grass because it was something that I have not seen on Gwen players so far, at least in recent memory. But definitely seems to be one TheShy where he's just trying to stack as much HP as possible. Meanwhile, second dragon has been started by Anyone's Legend, already at 4k HP. Jiejie and Rookie slinking up on the right side. Teleport is coming in now from Flandre. It's going to be matched by TheShy as he rejoins with Jiejie right below them. Hope trying to land some poke down. And there, gotta be wary about the flanks on both left and right from Rookie and Meiko respectively, as now the dragon is leashed towards TheShy.
Okay, Rookie by himself though.
Flash
AL
on
pull
the
the trigger.
Rookie, and Rookie forced to flash over the wall. Seismic Shove doesn't find him, but getting slowed by Between Worlds. That's first blood going over to Anyone's Legend. Jiejie forced to flash away, and this dragon is nowhere close to dying. Jiejie pinned under the Krugs.
No.
He got crept blocked by the Krugs, and another Seismic Shove from Shanks is able to get the finishing blow onto him. 2 kills go over to Anyone's Legend, and they get the dragon too.
And now IG, they're going to be feeling the hurt in this game. They didn't get any of these dragons early on. They got 4 grubs going over to AL. And these losing lanes are continuing to hurt. The fact that they're missing damage here. Yes, you're going to have a little bit more HP and you'll potentially be tankier in a few minutes' time. But I'm just worried about whether or not you're actually going to be able to get to a reasonable portion of this game where it is meaningful. And a great turn here from AL. Rookie just trying to be a flanking member. Tarzan just like, okay, well, I'll just wrap around the back end of this this side of the river, and we'll just pincer them inside the dragon pit. Rookie's not even able to get away. And the other side of this fight is Kael and Hope fighting off 3 other members of IG. This minion block is disgusting work, by the way. Ah, man, he gets shoved into the wall, he gets put into a locker, and IG, they're going to try and start this up. Tarzan going to be in the area and has the smite.
A lot of flashes are down on the side of IG, though. Rookie and Jiejie, no summoner spells available. 2.4k HP on the Herald. Anyone's Legend trying to turn towards the 3-man. Now they stun up Jiejie, already popping the Crescent Guard, blocking as much damage as possible. Tarzan in trouble. Big engage from Meiko with the Magnet Storm. TheShy goes in. The Needlework firing at all the frontline members. Pretty big advantage for IG, but look at the damage from Flandre. He's going crazy on the top. Aurora showing his dominance. Now popping in and out of visibility, and Gala is just trying to run for the hills. It looked good for a brief second for IG, but then Anyone's Legend silenced them in an instant.
And they don't even get the Rift Herald, so IG get almost fully ace there in that fight. And AL, they'll grab first turret, they get the first to 3, they're going to kill Gala, take his summoner spells at the very least. Tarzan escapes, they get top tier 1 as well. This is just going incredibly for anyone's legend, and this is the dominant showing that we needed to see from the second best team here in the LPL.
And just like that, Dimitri, in the past 2 minutes, we go from a deathless game where both teams are just staring each other down, exchanging objectives, anyone's legend taking advantage for the majority of the time, and now it all explodes. What seemed like an even game has now gone to 6,000 gold advantage in favor of anyone's legend.
This engage from Meiko is great, but there's just not enough damage to follow. Rookie only just now is getting into this pit, and because they're all choked into this entrance, the ramp into red side jungle, Flandre lets it rip even with this Rod of Ages. The electrocute, the passive from this Aurora is just putting in work, and now he's got that. He's transferred that individual lead that he was able to garner for himself through the laning phase and turned it into an actionable piece of this game for AL. 4 grubs still, so this mid-tier 1 is gone. So much gold here for the side of AL, and a great start to this game.
And if you're an Anyone's Legend fan, it brings a smile to your face to see that it is Flandre being able to have a pop-off moment. This was a Rod of Ages Aurora that was completed 4 minutes before TheShy's very own Rod of Ages, and the difference is felt massively in that fight.
Right, I'm looking at this map right now. How IG are able to battle back. You've got a Rod of Ages proc coming through for Rookie, so he'll be at least on par with Shanks. But, I mean, like, we're just not able to get Jiejie fighting early. Maybe there's something that could be done in a minute's time around the Dragon. You're just, I'm hoping that Rookie, because he's kind of has to be the X factor with the Silas ultimate, right?
Yep. You have to grab something that feels meaningful. And at this point, I don't know what he grabbed in the last fight. Hopefully he can get a chain of corruption. Shanks could be in trouble. Tries to flash. I think he flashed into the wall. This is not good for Shanks. Can the rest of anyone's legend bail him out? Yes, they can. Wallet diff is freaking real, baby. And Rookie is the first one to fall as the price, as Flandre just pops Jiejie on the backside. And now it's just a 1-5 for anyone's legend. Shanks might have looked a little caught out there, but it was all an elaborate ruse.
He's got Seraphs already. He's got fully completed Seraphs. He's got a completed boots. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. Otacon even being taken here, and it's a voracious one. So that just means they're going to have free revives. If we thought this game was difficult enough for IG, it is going to get even tougher for them. As now AL, if they want, they'll even be able to start up this Dragon. You see the pings are coming out. Nobody is alive from IG to be able to contest.
And TP is coming out towards top side. So yeah, IG not even interested in looking for another objective fight. This is definitely the part of the game where IG members are telling themselves, guys, we just need to find a way to farm as much as possible before we're forced to fight again, because the wallet diff is so massive. It's now an 8,000 gold advantage on the side of anyone's legend.
I just think it is hilarious that we are seeing Flandre carry so hard on this Aurora top lane, because I think coming into this series, one of my issues with AL, and particularly Flandre, is that sometimes his top lane picks have just not been great. Yeah. He has been someone that, despite the cook on the top tank Jace, he has had games where, like we had a Vladimir game where I think he was pretty useless. That Nidalee top game that we were referencing a game ago versus JDG felt like it was a pretty big pain point for them, and he has been playing for such a long time that I thought that maybe we wouldn't necessarily see him have such a big performance, but it's great to see someone like himself actually show up in this game.
Yeah, finding a big advantage against TheShy, who is now under fire, trying to defend this inhibitor tower, now forced away as the rest of anyone's legend. Oh, Tarzan just ready to send it. But you know what? They have the Otacon revivals, so might as well have a little bit of fun, test your limits there. Kael not going to get interrupted on the portal take. Meanwhile, Rookie just split pushing. At this point, it's pretty much, you know, for gold, trying to get back into the pockets of IG. Okay, Hope got stopped on the base, but I don't think IG
no.
really
want to take this. Guys.
Yeah, baby! Overextended. At least good use of the miss so that TheShy can avoid the seismic shove, but he can't avoid all the CC coming in from anyone's legend. It does come at the cost of Hope's flashing in for the chain of corruptions, but that gets the job done.
Did they just end?
Yeah, they could just look for the end. They have a 5 versus 3 advantage. Gala now finishes his base. He's got both summoner spells, but he's got to deal with Otacon revivals. Meiko sending it big engage with the Magnet Storm, but everyone peels away. Meiko under fire is now just gone. Gala down to his last bullet in the chamber, but he's just running away. He doesn't even want to look to fire it, and Hope puts an end to his life. Rookie, the last member standing on the side of IG, trying to retreat to the safety of his 1 inhibitor tower that has not fallen yet, and anyone's legend, they don't have another minion wave coming in anytime soon, so now they're going to take their leave.
And they only lost a single Otacon buff during all of that. Shanks is the one that goes down. It is 14-0, an absolute schlackening coming in against IG. They are getting demolished in this one. AL looking incredibly dominant, and what we should expect from a top team here in the LPL.
20 stacks on the BM book from Shanks. This
Let's
guy
go.
is so bold and so confident that he is not dying anytime soon. That does paint a bigger target on his back, but you know what? Screw it, bro. Might as well. Anyone's legend are now once again, still 8,000 gold at this point. They haven't pushed the lead any higher yet since there was some gold given back to IG's pockets thanks to Rookie pushing on the top side as well as getting at least a little bit of gold off of the Shanks revival with the Otacon buff, but anyone's legend still very favored to win this game at this point, and IG, I think, are just thinking about game 2.
Yeah, AL, I mean, if they don't win the game in 2 minutes, they'll have a Hextech Soul potentially on the cards for them. Baron spawning in a minute so even they can take that objective. They have 4 grubs. This game has not been good for IG. They've gotten absolutely destroyed. Again, part of that is the draft. Another great job coming in from Tabe. Legendary coach. Actually, one of the reasons why AL were even vaguely competitive last year was the fact that they had Tabe even before they brought in Flandre and Tarzan. So exciting to see that some of the long-term projects of anyone's legends, because for a long time this team was a nobody bottom half of the table, and now coming into 2025 they're very likely one of our top teams that has the potential to win it all and represent the LPL and internationals.
That's right. The remaining core of anyone's legend has slowly evolved into being top 3 if not top 1 in all their roles respectively. You know, Shanks, you know, could arguably be, you know, contesting with members like Cream and Scout at this rate, but Hope, I think, is definitively first. He's been so damn consistent. He's been so damn impressive in Split 2. Kael also been a standout support, probably only matched by Crisp at this point, but yeah, anyone's legend, the fact that, as you called it, the long-term investments have worked out well, and with Tarzan and Flandre rounding out this 3-man core and adding much-needed direction, much-needed veterancy and experience across the board has really made anyone's legend, when they're playing at their best, absolutely one of the best teams in the LPL, and super exciting if they can get a chance to go all the way and represent LPL internationally.
All right, we've got Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Hextech portals are being used by IG, but there are very few flank wards. It's just a single control ward placed in the tri-brush. Rookie's going to teleport on mid, but they're losing the mid wave. They're losing the top wave. You can already start to see that AL may be starting to flirt with potentially trading for a Baron instead. And that Void, that enhanced Scuttle, is going to knock out that last ward coming in. Rookie gets caught.
And he doesn't have Flash Alk. He tries to use the E over the wall, but Flandre's going to pop him super quickly. And now it's a 5-on-4 guarantee for the side of anyone's legend. If Jiejie wants to send it over the wall to deny Soul, that's the one option you can do. But then you would force a 5-on-3 for anyone's legend and just make it easy for them to end the game. So Jiejie not going to take that gamble. It is Hextech Soul guaranteed for anyone's legend. And now they have Baron to look at.
Yep, and that's going to be their last objective that they take. They get that Soul, they grab the what looks to be the Baron here. Rookie will not be up for another 20 seconds, and even if that is the case, he will still have to use the Hextech portals, and will take him a little bit of time before he gets into this play. So looks like AL, they're going to first tend to their waves, make sure that they're pushing so that they can move into Fog 4 and just take control. Really clean play, I think, coming out from them Again, a team that is very well coached at this point, so just suffocate all of the vision out from this top side, grab yourself the Baron, and prepare to end in a few minutes' time.
So satisfying to see anyone's Legend play a very clean game against IG. You know, it's one thing to play a clean game against, you know, some of the bottom teams that we have in the league, but the fact that IG have at least garnered enough series wins to make them, you know, a respectable middle of the pack team in the league, anyone's Legend getting a win like this is much more meaningful. And now, great flank by Flandre with the TP. Yeah, that should do it. Meiko with the ultimate is going to try to stall for time. Jiejie sends it into the backline, looking at least for either Shanks or Hope. But he's got to choose his target, and he cannot make up his mind. They're just too damn tanky, and they're too damn powerful. Anyone's Legend will not drop a single death this game just to show how much better they are than IG.
And they even close it out with a clean ace for AL. They get all of the inhibitors. They're just going to be able to blow open this base. And it has just been a complete one-sided game coming in to start this series off.
Meiko will try to save it, but we all know the result of this story. Anyone's Legend takes first game against IG.
This was supposed to be a much more competitive one than we just saw versus TES and FPX, but
really?
I'll be honest, FPX put up more of a fight than IG did up against AL, so
oh my god.
This is exactly the IG that I think all of those fans signed up for. We're going to be looking competitive against TES, we're going to look competitive versus Weibo and Jiejie, and then randomly, we're going to get stomped by a team that maybe we didn't expect necessarily that was going to come out of.
We're gonna get absolutely blasted by pandas, and you know what? Just happens, bro. That is the IG roller coaster. I hope Kael didn't tune into the LPL for that one, because that is gonna be super depressing.
Definitely was, unfortunately.
Oh man. Well, Kael, I am so sorry, brother. Maybe IG will look better in game 2. We will find out together.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a tough one to watch. Great job from AL. I think that they played that game with a lot of discipline and a lot of poise. We got to see Flandre exercise a lot of his lead across the map. And what I'm really happy about for them is that they are slowly, I think, starting to piece it together. They still have some mechanical errors. I think that there were moments in that game where IG could have taken it, but the lack of decisiveness and I think the lack of the engage for this team, this draft was not favorable for IG from minute 1, and we got to see why that was the case.
Yeah, and the fact that anyone's Legend were able to play around their range so respectfully and yet decisively gave them the edge when it mattered most. Because like we said, it was a very, you know, even though objective-wise anyone's Legend was kind of smoking IG in that department, Gold Lead had not, you know, exploded for any, you know, a majority of the lanes, other than, you know, Flandre being able to complete his Rod of Ages 4 minutes sooner than TheShy. It still was a very winnable game for IG if they were able to play the team fight style correctly. But the fact that anyone's Legend immediately identifying that Rookie is the safest to go for, using the power of the Talia to quickly cut off the retreat path and force summoner spells, and making Jiejie uncomfortable in that moment as well. I mean, Sun Tzu Art of War, pick the weakest flank and commit to it, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, not much to talk about in that game because it was over very quickly. It's literally 20-0. I would say a perfect game, but unfortunately, there were a lot of turrets taken on the top side by Rookie, and just too many modifiers for that one. So, coming in, not only do we have to think about MVP, but we also have to start thinking about draft for game number 2. The Aurora pick, I think, is interesting as well, because now 2 AP top laners are taken off, but there's still so many that I think TheShy has been able to perform on. And what's going to happen in the mid lane? Because now there are a few champions that I think are pretty pivotal to both of these players' champion pools.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we haven't even seen the full-on melee draft yet. There's still Sejuani Yone as a combo that can still be locked in. So we're not getting the Bat Signal composition or the Avengers comp with Pantheon Talia. I guess you could still look for a Galio angle if you want to play it into a Rumble, since that was not locked in this prior game. But yeah, we know that IG are going to be playing on blue side again. Power picks, assuming if the bans are similar, if not the same, I think you just go for Rumble first pick and pray you can find a combo with that.
Trying to do math right now. So 9,000, 1,500 plus 8 is 22 plus 10, 32,000 damage in total almost. 32 to 34, give or take. Damn. You take any two champions from the top side here of AL and they just completely dwarf you. That's really depressing to see. Jesus, guys.
Like we said, if anyone's legend is going to remain one of our top 2 teams in the league, we want to see them playing like this, right? Because then this gives LPL fans hope. Come playoffs, come international, if anyone's legend are able to go the full distance, whether they get first or second seed, and then, you know, hopefully LPL's got some real firepower being able to take on the other regions in Vancouver later this year.
Oh, maybe. But we got a little bit of time before MSI. We still have another 4 weeks of just this regular season alone.
Yeah. And
then we got to get through playoffs. So, good idea to start thinking a little bit further in the future. But I don't know. This game has been more of the same. And I will say it's a bit hard for IG, especially coming off of that series versus Weibo just last night, less than 24 hours ago. Having to play immediately, and then they're going to be playing TES later this week. This is one of the hardest weeks for IG, playing against a couple of top teams and a Weibo who is on the come up in terms of the standings. So they need to be able to kind of train themselves. You obviously have so much veterancy across this roster, so the expectation is that they will be able to perform. And we have seen from Invictus the fact that they can bounce back in these series.
Yeah, and you know what? Absolutely right that, you know, MSI might be a conversation a little too far away, but, you know, playoffs in terms of getting one of those guaranteed playoff spots in the top 4, that's a real conversation that we can have, because IG are currently number 4 in the standings, or they're I think they're actually
they're 5. They're 5 because they're 5-5 right now.
That's
and
right.
Their game score is 13-14. So
right.
they're our 500 team right now.
Yeah, they basically lost their